What's going on, guys? Fullst here, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth Tahm Kench Jungle guide. Tahm Kench won the poll alongside Set. They kind of tied, so I'm just gonna do both, one after the other. Yeah, if you guys want to vote for the next champion, who is gonna win the next poll, everything like that, make sure to keep an eye on the community tab. Hit the notification bell so you know when it goes up. And you have 24 hours to vote for whichever one of the champions that gets the most votes will be the next guide. And that's basically just how that works. Also, if you guys want to catch me streaming live on Twitch, you can. I do stream quite a bit, so you can just come hang out there. There's a link in the description. You can come hit the follow button. And yeah, now for Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench is an unconventional jungler, to say the least. You don't see him ever, but he's actually extremely strong and oppressive as well to a lot of junglers. So with that being said, I'm just going to go right into the runes. Now, the main rune on Tahm Kench and the rune you want to get is Hail of Blades. You might wonder why Hail of Blades. Well, this is simply because this basically instantly stacks your passive up on a target. So you can walk up to an enemy, you can just hit him 3 times, and you get your fully stacked passive on top of him instantly. And this has a lot of pressure. Also, Hail of Blades has an 8 second out of combat cooldown, so you can proc this, or you can keep this up quite regularly, so you can do a fight, and then you get it back and just keep proccing your W that way. So it's really, really good to just stack your passive, and this is going to give you a very high dominating status against a lot of 1v1s in even into early game champions, because they just don't expect your damage. Your W damage scales really well with this, because it just does percentage HP damage. So you can go Hail of Blades into stacking a passive, into stunning them with Q, or just instantly eating them as well. And then just spitting them out, hitting a Q, doing more auto attacks and everything like that. It's just going to be oppressive, and this is definitely the rune that's going to be the most effective on Tahm Kench. Now moving on from here, you have the Cheap Shot, which is basically the rune that's going to be the best. You can also get Taste of Blood for a little bit of extra healing, but Cheap Shot with the movement impaired abilities that you have and the way you're kind of building anyway, this is just by far the best rune you can get. It gives also the most damage output to skill, like in 1v1s, all that type of stuff. It's just the best rune out of the situation. And then from here, you want to get the Eyeball Collection. You can also get Zombie Ward if you want for more vision, but that's like for more like vision control really purposes. This is only going to be good in the higher elos though, because there's going to be enough wards placed there. If you're playing lower elo Tahm Kench, then probably not recommended. Just go Eyeball Collection, since that would be better. Now here, this Relentless Hunter is by far the best rune you could get. The other viable option is Ultimate Hunter, to give your ult a lower cooldown, to just have more gank pressure that way. But overall, Relentless Hunter gives you the most roam speed, which helps you with everything really, from roam speed in general, gank speed, getting into position for counter ganks with your ultimate, contesting scuttles, like invading the enemy jungler if they're like punishing them faster, all that type of stuff. Relentless will help with more pressure, will help with more roam ability, which is usually the best bet. Now you can, of course, with your ultimate on Kench, you have more leeway to take camps here and there. So Relentless, I mean, if you need to get to a counter gank really fast, Relentless into a Tahm Kench ultimate is usually going to get you there pretty quickly. Now for the secondary runes, it's basically just one option. You want to get the Nimbus Cloak. Another option that is decent is Approach Velocity. It might be that after the buffs, it could come out a little bit more favorable, but in general, Nimbus Cloak's better simply because this also allows you to go Red Smite into certain matchups. You don't necessarily have to go Blue Smite. You have the option of both. Nimbus Cloak also is just really, really good for Tahm Kench, since smiting, you don't need to smite any of your camps really, because your W does it for you. So you can basically keep your smites up and play really aggressive with those for easy ganks and all this type of situations. So Nimbus Cloak is by far the best rune to have on Tahm Kench for a lot of those situations. Now to combine this, you want to get the Water Walking. Now the reason you want to get Water Walking here is because this gives you the biggest pressure for, again, roams. So if you're running through river, you can go, for example, you could have ganked mid lane. You did like top scuttle, you ganked mid lane, and then you want to get Bot Scuttle as well, maybe, if the enemy jungler hasn't instantly done it, something like that. Then Water Walking is obviously going to be better for 1v1 situations against Scuttle Crabs, which is really, really painful for the enemy jungler because Tahm Kench is already disgusting at those 1v1 situations, and Water Walking kind of stacks on top of that for more move speed and more just damage in general. And also this helps with roamability to react to counter gank with your ultimate, so you can run through river for a little bit extra speed, and that's just good there as well. So there's a lot of options why this is just the best one to combine with Nimbus Cloak. And yeah, now moving on from the runes here, the attack speed is the one you want to get for sure, simply because this helps you with your jungle clear initially the most. On Tahm Kench you start Machete and you clear 3 camps really, really quickly, so you do blue, gromp, red buff. With your W and just auto attacks in general, you're going to destroy those camps really fast. You just need to have the attack speed on those camps to be able to do it. Now Hail of Blades is obviously good for attack speed on enemies, but not so much on camps, so that's why this rune here kind of makes up for that and just gives you a significant clear speed increase. Now to combine that, you want to get the Adaptive Force and then Armor or Magic Resist, depending on what's good into the enemy team. Now something that you want to note on Tahm Kench as well is if they have full if they have a lot of AP damage, you can go double Magic Resist or you can go double Armor as well. The adaptive damage here doesn't necessarily do much because Tahm Kench's base damage is extremely, extremely high. So this is a viable option. It is a little bit better, just a smidge bit better for like early fights. But Tahm Kench mainly has it for his base damage, so you can just go double armor, double magic resist to be even tankier. So that's an option there, that's up to you. Usually, personally, I will go for Adaptive Force with one of these two, since I kind of like to have the extra little bit of clear speed, just a little bit, and then also a little bit of an edge more so on the early fights as well. So yeah, that's basically it for the runes on Tahm Kench. If you guys have any questions on this, please do make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those for you. And let's just move into the item build now. Alright, so for the item build on Tahm Kench, we have the starting item of a Hunter's Machete and a refillable potion. You want to start with a Hunter's Machete because this simply gives you the best 3-camp clear. On Tahm Kench, in the early stages of the game, your clear speed isn't that great because you have a really difficult time dealing with smaller minions. The moment you get your Bami Cinder / your Cinder Hulk is the moment where your clear speed just propels and you just one-shot all the camps really fast. So that's the difference there. For the initial camps, you just want to get blue, gromp, red buff, and that's why this is the best item to get. It just does that the fastest. Now you want to get the Warding Trinket early. You can place it defensive. You can place it offensive, which is what I usually do on Tahm Kench, because placing a defensive ward on Tahm Kench doesn't necessarily do much, since you're going for like a double buff gromp clear anyway, and you're doing it faster than anyone in the game can. So honestly, no one's really going to be able to invade you anyway. So going for the red trinket is, or for the warding trinket offensively, knowing where they start, stuff like that. You can do that, then go red smite or the red trinket, and then red trinket is going to be good for ganking. Now, for ganking on Tahm Kench, you do want to pay attention to which lanes have the priority and which lanes you'll be able to gank, because it just does not matter where you start. You can start either blue or you can start red, and you can start playing towards the lane that will be the easiest for you to gank or kill. So that's really what you want to look for, and yeah, it just doesn't really matter. Now, for your jungle item on Tahm Kench, it's always going to be Cinder Hulk, but it can be red or blue smite. If you have Nimbus Cloak, you can go for both. If you went Approach Velocity, you went for a build that way, then you have to go blue smite because you will not have the ability to stick to people that easily. So red smite is good against champions that, like a lot of bruisers, champions that will be able to 1v1 you a lot better. Think champions like Fiora, those types of champions facing opposing junglers will be like Olaf. That type of stuff, you kind of want to get the red smite against those. If you're facing more mobility, squishy type of stuff, all that, you kind of want to get the skirmisher, because with this on top of Nimbus Cloak, you're basically just going to run up to them with no issues, hit your Hail of Blades, eat them, spit them out towards your team, and they're basically guaranteed to die. So basically a blue smite gank is a guaranteed kill, honestly. So every blue smite gank is very good, and in a lot of situations you'll see me go blue smite over red smite simply for that reason specifically. I will of course go red smite into those dueling junglers like Olaf. Now moving on, again what I said, go for the Cinder Hulk enchant because, I mean, you need to be tanky, you need to have health, so also this gives you your clear speed. The moment you pick up the Bami Cinder off this item, your clear speed is just basically W a camp once and it dies. It's not going to be much after that, and yeah. So it's a big spike for Tahm Kench, and this is the spike where you just want to start speed rotating your jungle camps, and then using your ultimate to gank and all that type of stuff. So moving on from here, the boots on Tahm Kench are either one of the tank boots, so mercs or ninjas. It's quite literally just what fits better. If you need the CC reduction, then get mercs. If you don't, then get ninjas for more tankiness. And yeah, that's really that. So now moving on from there, we have a lot of tank items that are all good and optional and just depends on what the enemy is doing. So if the enemy has a lot of healing and you need healing reduction, get a Bramble Vest right now. Just want to pick that up as fast as possible. You don't necessarily have to finish your Thorn Mill. You just need to make sure that you have the Bramble Vest to have the healing reduction to grievous wounds, to make sure that they just don't heal everything back and then run over your team that way. So that's just one you want to get. And a great item on Tahm Kench is the Spirit Visage. If you have situations where you can go first, item Spirit Visage, basically, like disregarding the boots and the Cinderhawk, of course. First item Spirit Visage is an extremely strong buy on Tahm Kench, because increase all healing received. This basically stacks up with your gray health and everything like that. Also gives CDR, magic resist, everything here is good for Tahm Kench. Now, from this item onwards, if they are full AD, then you're not going to build Spirit Visage. Then you just want to go like Bramble Vest into maybe a Randomance, or Deadman's Plate is also very good on Tahm Kench for the additional move speed, because the main issue Tahm Kench has is mobility issues. So if you can go close the gap with like a Deadman's Plate like that, that's really good. Other good items would be the Righteous Glory for pretty much same purposes as Deadman's would be. And you can use this to close the distance, close the gap. This is also a little bit cheaper, but it does give a little bit less armor, so it just depends on the enemy, really. You can go for a setup like this into a Righteous Glory. Now, usually if you go Blue Smite and have Nimbus Cloak and you just keep your smites for a lot of fights, then a Righteous Glory isn't as necessary, because you're going to just easily be able to catch them anyway. You can just go for like a Bramble if you are facing like healing, and then if you're facing full AD, you can go Deadmans into like Randomance Omen, Thornmail, that type of stuff, and you're basically becoming unkillable at that point. Any normal situation game where I have a little bit more AP damage as well, you can go Spirit Visage, still pick up a Bramble if you have to really fast for the healing reduction. If not, you can go Spirit Visage into Bramble, into Thornmail even, you can finish the item at that point. It wouldn't be bad. Finishing Thornmail here is actually a good choice. Gives you a nice amount of extra armor. You already have a lot of HP anyway. And from this point onwards, you can go for like Stoneplate and like a Warmox. A situation like a build setup like this in general, like as a 6-item build, is something you can easily build for. It's fairly cheap as well. There's really not many very expensive items in a build like this, but this makes you unbelievably tanky. You can just go in, tank a lot with the resistance you have. You have an immense amount of HP from Warmox on top of this. This stacks really well. And then as well, you can tank a lot of damage with your initial health. Then you pop your shield, tank more, walk out of the fight if you have the opportunity, regen everything back with Warmox and do it once again. It's just a repeating cycle that is just completely broken, honestly. And then with the Stoneplate on top of that to finish this build off, you're going to get 80 armor, 80 magic resist, just straight up if you walk into the enemy team. You want to be frontlining as Tahm Kench either way, peeling for your team. So this will happen a lot. And also, if you press this, it's over for them, honestly. If they kill you by some miracle at this point, I mean, honestly, I don't know what happened, mate. Really, like this build setup right here, if you can just go for this in most of your games, you should be fine. Obviously, variables would apply if you're facing like Cassios and Karthuses. You want to get adaptive over Spirit Visage. Sure, the healing of this is nice, but the adaptive will be better for tank stats. And Thornmail is obviously good for healing reduction. If you don't need it, you can go like Randomance for crit reduction. Again, Deadmans is good. Just like there are just other tank items that are going to be good into the enemy team. You probably will realize what tank items those are, and honestly, yeah, I mean, that's really just it. So it's basically just build tank on Tahm Kench, build items that fit well into the enemy team. However, do keep note that Warmox and Stoneplate combination as like a final 2 options after 2 initial tank items that do well into the enemy team is a very, very good and strong buy. So it's a very simple build for Tahm Kench. It's not that it doesn't require much thought. It's just, oh, this tank item is good into the enemy team, let's pick it up. If it's just a general game, I'd say a build path like Spirit Visage, Thornmail, Warmox, and Stoneplate is a fine path to go for, no problems there. And yeah, that's just it for the Tahm Kench build. If you guys have any questions on it, please make sure to put this in the comments below. If you guys have enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button as well, as this does help me out quite a bit. And let's just move into the gameplay section now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I am playing Tahm Kench, of course, into a Rek'Sai. Now, this for Tahm Kench at a melee range champion is a good matchup for you. Literally any of them, it doesn't matter what you face, since you'll beat anything in an early 1v1. Your champion is extremely tanky and does a lot of damage with your W up. Plus you can stall easily for your laners to get there as well. Now, the good thing about Tahm Kench here is it's basically impossible for enemies to invade you, for enemies to take scuttle crabs away from you, all that type of stuff, as you'll see in this game as well. You have one of the fastest, if not the fastest, 3-camp clear there is on this champion. So definitely make sure you abuse that and look to play aggressive early game. You can start farming more in the later game, like in the later stages, after you pick up a Bami Cinder, after you get to your Cinder Hulk. That's when you really start rotating your camps a bit more. But in the early game, you can play extremely aggressive. Do a 3-camp clear, contest the enemy for maybe a Gromp or their other buff camp, or just double scuttle them. Like, it's really easy as Tahm Kench to do stuff like that if they just are not instantly on the other scuttle. Because, of course, if you're taking bot scuttle and they're instantly doing top scuttle, there's not much you can do about that, but that's about that. So, right here. I mean, I'm just going to start blue buff in this situation. Rek'Sai is most likely going to start red buff. Usually Rek'Sai players will start red side, clear their entire red side, gank mid lane or gank top lane in that case, and then they will go for one of the scuttles right after a gank like that. That is usually the Rek'Sai playstyle, so I'm just going to go take my 3 camps, or like my 3 single target camps, which is going to be very easy with the W start. You want to start W, by the way. I mean, I guess you figured this by now, but yeah. Maxing order on Tahm Kench, by the way, is Q first, then W, then E. There is really no reason to max your E at any point. You kind of just... This is a 3-second cooldown, you don't gain anything, it doesn't cost any mana. So you can quite literally just use it whenever. You want to use this as well when you're clearing your camps. So you take a little bit of damage, then you pop E, so you take that damage on your shield instead of on you. So you can really easily sustain your camps without any issues. So the main thing for your initial clear is the machete will help you do a lot of damage with auto attacks. And then this basically just gets low. You eat it at about 450-ish. It basically just eat it at the kill range. As you can see, the maximum of 500 against neutral monsters. So basically anything that's below 500 HP, just eat it. And then you spit it through the next camps to hit it there as well. As you can see, that was really just an instant clear on that. I eat this again, instantly one-shot that camp basically. It took me almost no time. And then right here, we're moving on to the red buff. Basically eat that as well, do 500 damage for free. And this is what I said, like the 3-camp clear, and then he just goes for the Twisted Fate in this case with his gank. So Twisted Fate preemptively flashes, which is a big mistake, honestly. There's no reason for him to flash here. Basically what he should do is just run down and run away from Rek'Sai, wait for Rek'Sai to have to close the distance, and then kind of either predict his flash or just like flash down. He flashed in a way where Rek'Sai could easily get him without any reason, so that's a bit unfortunate there, but that's fine. At this rate, Rek'Sai walks into the bot side, and I'm just gonna make sure that I have a Blitzcrank on bot, so as long as he walks up, and luckily his hook was on cooldown in this case, but as long as Blitzcrank would walk up, you would easily be able to make a play here, since, well, you can get in range and there's no real issues here. So right here, I just figured I'd walk away, and I'm just gonna go for the scuttle. This is basically because I know that Rek'Sai will not be able to win 1v1 against me that easily. If he gets the flank, like this Rek'Sai specifically has Hill of Blades, so he has a better chance at winning. But at the moment, my bot lane should have the priority to roam, and their mid laner just TP back to their turret. So TF also should have the priority to roam. So there is no way the Rek'Sai should be able to get this scuttle crap for me. Now, as you can see, this Rek'Sai was smart waiting around the corner in this case. Gets the knock up, gets the jump on me, which is kind of whatever, honestly. I just put my shield, flash on top of him, hit the third hit with the passive. I eat him up. I just keep him on my belly for as long as I can. Wait for the TF to pick a stun guard. Spit him out. Smite the scuttle crab so I cannot die to the next auto attack. And then the Rek'Sai just dies off of that one. So even though he pretty much bursted me for a lot of my HP, I still had a shield that I could use. I had the lane priority, so there's no way this Rek'Sai was ever going to win that play, simply because I'm way too tanky on Tahm Kench that he just will not be able to win that play. Now the only difference here is mainly, like, we should be we're in a 4v5 situation, however I'm extremely low, so that's a bit bad for me there. Ideally I just want to get out or survive wherever I can. I should have W'd a little bit fast, or eat, sorry, a little bit faster there so I can block that auto attack with damage wise. but I reacted to that a little bit late, unfortunately. But in this situation right here, I think these three should have the advantage to win this fight at this point. Ezreal unluckily misses a Q, and now is prioritizing Karma, whilst he should honestly be prioritizing the Kai'Sa here. She does probably the most damage out of them right now. So he flashes after. Kai'Sa was literally one hit for this Ezreal. His Q is going to be up, and he's chasing the Karma with it. I mean, he misses his Q as well. If he threw one Q backwards or just killed the Kai'Sa, he would have had double buff. That would have been a much better play for him in this situation, but, like, I don't know, he's zoning out or something, not playing his fights right. Now, in this case, he does kill the Karma, and Blitzcrank luckily kills the Kai'Sa, but in this case, Ezreal should have honestly killed the Kai'Sa. That would have been a much cleaner fight. Syndra now gets away. So, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. In this case, however, Rek'Sai does go for top scuttle. Off of that play, I could not really get bot scuttle anymore. I was just figuring he was going to go for bot scuttle since he would have the priority in the lanes right now, as you can see for the minion waves. So it's kind of unfortunate there that I lost the scuttle. It doesn't necessarily matter since my team did kind of win that fight, so we should technically have a lead. Now for Tahm Kench, one of the biggest things is the moment you get blue smite, you can easily look for any type of gank. If you have hard CC in your lanes, like a Pantheon for example, you can literally just stun, you walk up with blue smite, with Nimbus Cloak, blue smite, you just walk up so fast that there's nothing the enemy will be able to do against you. So right here I walk up, Pantheon stuns, I blue smite, I just walk up to him, hit a Q, and he just dies off of that gank, which is really good for me. But that does mean I trade the dragon for that type of play. I would never have been able to be bot side anyway, simply because of the lane priorities that were in there, and also my lane still had the base. So there was not really much that I could do about that dragon in any situation there. Now right here, making sure that I rotate through my camps. It's very easy to clear your camps. It takes a little bit longer if you don't have Bami Cinder or Cinderhawk, but it's still very doable as your W does a lot of damage to the main target in the camp, and you'll easily be able to kill him. So right here, pick up the Bami Cinder, and now this is where we just I'm just going to contest the scuttle again. There's no way Rek'Sai should be able to get this. Yeah, it levels me a little bit here simply because he's more farm in this situation. He had more of an opportunity to farm, I'd say, than me in this specific situation after that initial fight. But I take scuttle here. One thing you can do with Tahm Kench, by the way, and scuttle crabs, or just anything in general, you can just yoink buff camps over the wall, all the type of stuff. If you Q, and then right as your Q hits the target, you press W, you pretty much just put it into your mouth and take it with you. So you can steal blue buffs like this, steal scuttle crabs like this, so you can literally just, if the enemy is doing scuttle, Q, W the scuttle, and walk the scuttle like to here. Scuttle doesn't instantly reset backward, doesn't really have an aggression timer, he kind of just slowly tries to inch backwards to where he's supposed to be. And by that time, there's nothing they should be able to do to contest that scuttle, because by that time you would have already cleared it. So now I have a Bami, and I am mainly just going to look to clear my camps, try to hit level 6 where I can, and then with that level 6 you can start to look for ultimate ganks. The initial ult level is fairly low, but it's still enough range that if you know where wards are or anything like that, you can still easily counter gank or just put pressure by ulting behind them, and stuff like that is easy to gank with on Tahm Kench. So right here, as you can see, the moment I basically pick up the Bami Cinder is the moment that my jungle clear just becomes really, really fast. So I need to make sure that I keep rotating my camps, because basically Wing a camp and then spitting it under camp basically instantly kills the entire camp. So he has actually a really, really good clear speed after the jungle item completion, or not even a jungle item, just a Bami Cinder completion. Yeah, so that's something you want to look for right here. As you can see me just rotating my camps, making sure that I do get a lot of XP from this, and then I'm able to get through the camps. Now I have ultimate, so basically my ult range on the initial level is fairly short, so basically my ult will probably, if I'm standing here, reach about here-ish, I'm guessing. It's fairly similar to the Nocturne ult initially, but this will probably reach here. The moment you hit level 11 is the moment your ultimate range just goes through the roof, so basically that's what you're trying to farm for as well. Yeah. So we see the Rek'Sai on bot lane here, and this is just like a counter gank wave from Tahm Kench. You just walk up, you ult in a spot, go here. I mean, Rek'Sai flashes, he just kind of dies to a counter gank, which is really good. Something you want to note with Tahm Kench, by the way, you don't just want to like casually use your W. You need to assess the situation, because if targets on your team are getting low and kills are getting secured already, there is absolutely no reason for you to W the enemy. You should W your ally to save their lives. That's usually a better play, to W your ally than Wing the enemy. However, if the enemy has 3 stacks on them and they're quite low, and your teammate is also quite low, you can quite easily just eat them because you'll just kill them at that range. But that's just the difference there. Now right here, this is kind of a situation where Twisted Fate is backing. Syndra will have priority to roam. I'm currently on a control ward, which I'm clearing right now. And Skullcrab just spawned. So this is one of the situations that I just explained to you. You can quite easily just do this on Tahm Kench, Q it, press W again, and then basically just put it in your jungle and just clear it here. Because now, as you can see, they're basically moving for the Skullcrab. Slash the dragon maybe, but they're pretty much just moving for the Skullcrab with guys. I hear Rek'Sai could be here as well, but he could also maybe be doing like Rift Herald or whatever. But in this case, like, they're moving for Skullcrab. They think I'm doing it, which I'm obviously doing it, but I'm doing it in my own jungle. So there's really not much they can do to stop me here. And right now, yeah, Rek'Sai is actually doing the Rift Herald. So with, like, the moment we see him doing Rift Herald, I figured, do I walk up there? I don't have ult, there's no reason. My bot lane has the priority to go for Dragon. So we just trade the Rift Herald for the Dragon, basically, which is honestly not a big deal and a fine trade. Now, also off of this, I know that his bot side camps will be up since he was top side clearing the Rift Herald, and it does take a little bit of time to clear the Rift Herald. So I figured his camps would be up, and as you can see, I cleared them very quickly with Ws. So I'm just going to hit them, spit them out, again here, as you can see, easily. Just clearing this, no problem. And now this is, again, Tahm Kench ultimate. Basically, you want to gank with it on cooldown as much as possible. So the moment you have this up, you want to try to look to gank with it. In this case, as you can see, the ultimate range is not very big. This is basically max range at level 6. Maybe a little bit further, but this is kind of max range. So situations like this, where you can stand here and ult behind them, is situations where they will easily lose a fight. So Karma basically just dies. In this case, Ezreal, like, I can eat the Ezreal in this case. If he just walks up to me, the Irelia will basically have teleported for nothing. But as you can see, he's kind of walking away from me, which is really awkward. So I try to slow the Irelia. Like, if he walked towards me, he would have been fine. He would have lived without any issues there. But yeah, it is what it is. It's just the Ezreal not paying too much attention, I don't think. Either way, that's fine. I pick up my jungle item here, get Mercs, and then pick up Magic Resist simply because, well, magic damage, magic damage, magic damage. So also with the CC from the Irelia stun and everything, the snare here, stun from here, like, it's just a very good buy. Rek'Sai uses Rift Herald mid lane. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. He kind of just gets the turret basically off of the Rift Herald. Pick up Scuttle, and at this point we can easily just dive the bot lane. I mean, I'm extremely tanky. As Tahm Kench, you have to remember that you can easily just play aggressive and dive, because you have basically 2 health bars if you use it properly. You can go in, tank a lot first, and then with your shield you can tank like 2 or 3 more hits as well. So you can very easily play aggressive. Now in this case, Blitzcrank kind of fucks up his hook, honestly. He could have used it a little bit earlier, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah. So kind of waiting around in bot lane, maybe a gank's gonna happen, but didn't really. And now the Rek'Sai, I think, is gonna go aggressive on my red buff. I didn't have any backup for my team, so I didn't necessarily want to contest it. However, the Syndra did have the priority there, so she could easily contest. So I basically just give up red buff. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. The Pantheon ult top lane in the meantime. Like, our team comp actually ult-wise is pretty disgusting, because we have Twisted Fate, Ultimate, Tahm Kench Ultimate, and Pantheon Ultimate. They all basically do the same thing. You can quite literally just gank from a stupid distance and counter gank and all that type of stuff. So when it comes to clearing your camps, you want to make sure that you get the camp low first, and then eat it and spit it onto the next camp. And then basically, when this camp gets low, I eat it, walk to the next camp, and that's the way you clear your camps. As soon as you have your Bami Cinder, you can do that. In this case, I wasn't planning to go for the next camp. I was planning to just go for his top side, check what is up, and yeah. So right here, as you can see, a big minion wave. So definitely what we want to do is we want to dive this Irelia. So just Pantheon pushes this wave out. And then with this wave, Irelia under turret is not going to be able to live ever. Because Pantheon can take aggro, he can do a lot of damage, he can shield, whatever. Then we just do a lot of damage to him for free. And then at the moment, I basically, like, all our damage has been done, or she dies, I can just W the Pantheon and he gets instantly out of the situation. Now in this situation, the Pantheon goes for the trade kill initially, which, I don't know, if he just cleared the wave, we could have dove him, but it's okay. In this case, it's fine. So I just use Hill of Blades, get my 3 stacks on the Irelia, eat him, wait for TF to have a stun card up, and basically spit him out, TF stun cards him, and he dies. Now, this top lane play, however, does result in them getting the next dragon for free, where there's not a whole lot we could have done about it, to be honest, but yeah. So right here, the Rek'Sai greets for my camp, and this is basically just like Tahm Kench. I mean, you can just ult towards Blitzcrank. All he has to do is hook. I ult in between. Pantheon jumps in my belly, and we are basically both there instantly. So that's just an insane like punish play for him walking up a little bit too far. And this is really what Tahm Kench is very good at. If laners walk up too far, you gank with ultimate. If the enemy jungler overextends, you can get there with ultimate instantly, and also take someone with you. So if, let's say, you gank mid lane, right? And you don't have a Twisted Fate, because Twisted Fate can do it himself. But let's say you gank mid lane and you kill the mid laner. Then with your mid laner as Tahm Kench as well, you can literally just go and walk to bot lane together. In the river, Tahm Kench ults, mid laner jumps in your belly, and you are both behind the enemy bot lane now. And they have, like, there's just an easy double kill as well. Your jungle clear on Tahm Kench is extremely good. So you can quite easily just rotate through your camps with a Thunderhawk. Now right here, they're under their turret, and I'm basically just pinging for the dive. There's not a whole lot they will be able to do here. I can technically eat the Blitzcrank if he needs it, but in this situation, I don't think it's necessary. Actually here, I should have probably eaten the Blitzcrank there, actually, yeah. That's a slight mistake there. Maybe I tried to, but I misclicked. Could have also been the case. I could look back at that real quick. Oh, sorry. So, right here, Blitzcrank gets really low. Yeah, in this case, I went for the Kai'Sa. I should have gone for the Blitzcrank eat there. That would have been better. If I could have just saved Blitzcrank out of turret range, that would have been a better play if I look at it now. That's what I mentioned earlier as well. It takes priority to save your teammates, especially when you're diving turrets. Like, save them over Wing the enemy, which is a mistake for me there. And yeah, just avoid that. Now right here, again, eat up the blue buff. Take the blue buff kind of with me as well. Punish the Rek'Sai for being topside, because, well, if you don't do that, then there's no reason. And right here, this is where you hit level 11. Your level 11 power spike massively increases your ultimate range. So from where the ultimate would reach maybe, I'd say like here before, maybe something like here, the ultimate will now reach like his red buff from this range. So that's a very, very big upgrade the moment you hit level 11. And that's also why you want to keep rotating your camps as much as possible. So I rally at topside. I'm basically just auto attack her 3 times, get my passive on her, eat her. I can then wait for my team to get their cooldowns back. I just keep them, like, the main thing is that you keep them in your belly for a longer period of time, so you can wait for your team to set up stun cards, for TF in this case, or get their cooldowns back, or stuff like that. So any type of setup they would have, just make sure that you eat them at that point. And then just wait for the setup. Also, you can decide where the enemy pops out. So make sure that you ping preemptively. So let's say I ate someone right here. Then I would ping in this spot to my allies that I'm gonna spit him out right here. So ping like maybe once or twice. You have plenty of time while he's in your belly without any issues, especially on ganks and you're solo, like 2v1ing them. Make sure to ping and spit them out on that ping to let your enemies know, like let your allies, know where they go, so they can prepare skill shots, they can prepare whatever they need to hit to your situation. Oh, sorry. Alright, in this specific situation, the Pantheon kind of walked in a strange way. We could have easily went through turret, he could have walked to me. Like, that's something allies will forget when you're playing Tahm Kench. They can walk to you and they can get saved for free, basically. So there's, like, in this situation right here, Pantheon walks this way, whilst if he walked this way, he would have been saved regardless. Now he kind of gets in a situation where he's in a 3v1, or something like that, 2v1, whatever it is, 3v1 here. So he flashes backwards. I tried to get to him in time. He was walking towards me at the end, like he was like trying to walk here eventually, but I tried to get to him in time, barely couldn't. If I was able to get there in time, the Rek'Sai ult would not have done any damage or anything. I would have just ate him, Rek'Sai would have just died for free, and I would have been good, but I barely wasn't able to get in range, so that's a bit unfortunate there. In this case, as you can see right here, so Irelia goes in. I just use my Hail of Blades, get a lot of auto attacks on her, and then get my passive, instantly Q her to CC her. You can only use one of your procs, so Wing here, like keeping your W here is safer. Just stun him in place, he's not going to be able to move for a little bit. As you can see, Syndra ults the Twisted Fate. I instantly W the Twisted Fate. He did have Aftershock in that case, so I probably wouldn't have had to. But it's better a good reaction than to not do it at all. So I W him, so Syndra ult basically gets cancelled damage-wise. And from that, we kind of just win the team fight. They kind of hard dove a Pantheon, and they 5-man died for it, which is really good for us. Now with this, my camps are up, so I definitely need to make sure that I quickly rotate through my camps. As you can see, Quickly rotate to him, give the blue buff to Twisted Fate, and as you can see the dragon spawning, and this is basically just shows you how big Tahm Kench's ult range is on level 11 the moment you hit it, because right here, I'm standing here, I think I'm already in ult range, but as you can see, I'm basically ulting here from there, which is a massive range. That's just completely disgusting, so you can quite easily just do that. Take dragon, we figured they'd be on Baron by now, so we move to Baron. And they stop the Baron and we just go push mid lane. So you're looking for some camps. I mean, basically every camp you do on Tahm Kench at this point. As soon as you complete your Cinderhawk, every camp you do on Tahm Kench, you just W it once, spit it out on the rest of the small minions, if there are any small minions. If there are not any small minions and something big is left like the Gromp, you can just eat the Gromp on low health, walk to the next camp, spit the Gromp on the next camp, and you're good as well. So that's just the way you want to clear your camps on Tahm Kench. You're an extremely big tank, so you can quite easily frontline or peel for your team. However, in this situation, TF went bot lane and my Blitz and my Ezreal kind of just greed for the Rift Herald. I don't know exactly what they're doing here, but with Twisted Fate on bot lane without ultimate, there's really not much you can do here. So it's kind of just an awkward situation all around. I am able to tank quite a bit, but I'm just going to try to flash out. I just want to get out. I don't really want to turn a fight like this. Ezreal, or my team rather, still has other ideas. Irelia goes in, I get 3 stacks on her, and I do eat her and kill her. But at this point, we just get chased down completely. And I'm able to tank a lot of damage for my Twisted Fate to get out. My Pantheon will probably get out as well. But there was really no reason to be in a situation like this. And we kind of just give a lot of shutdowns for no reason at all. So that's a bit unfortunate in that situation, but it should still be okay. Now this is the moment, like, I'm basically getting tankier and tankier as the game progresses, and my damage just doesn't really go down because of the way your W works, scaling on HP damage. So you basically can still do a massive amount of damage while frontlining for your team, saving your teammates wherever necessary. So right here, basically, wait, actually, this is just something good about Tahm Kench Ultimate as well. Like, right here, you see me walking out of base, fights going on, and I'm basically all, like, instantly there. So the moment you hit level 11, is the moment where if any fight breaks out, you can quite easily afford to just full clear your jungle camp, full clear your jungle camps a lot more often. If your ultimate is up, then you're easily just, alright, I can just do this. Oh, fight breaks out on the enemy red buff, let me just ult for my wolves to their red buff. Stuff like that. You can easily just pull that off, and that's why it's really good. Now, Ezreal, I don't know, kind of greeting for the red buff here. Eventually does go over the Baron wall, which is good. Now in this situation, again, Tahm Kench, I mean, I can pretty much endlessly tank a Baron without too many issues. I'm level 13, which is the highest level, actually not the highest level on my team. Ezreal, sorry, the Twisted Fate outlevels me, but I am the same level as their solo laner, so I'm extremely strong. The Blitz lands a really good hook. My team actually stops doing like the Baron the moment Rek'Sai goes in, which is nice. And we basically pick up the Baron for free off of that one. I mean, guys, I guess still tried to go for the steal, I don't know. So, TF flashes forward, hits the stun card. I mean, basically at this point, you're just an unkillable champion that can easily frontline for your team, make sure that you can look for picks with your, like, Q slows, and the main thing is trying to peel more. Tahm Kench is extremely good at peeling for the enemy, for your allies. So try to stick towards your carry, stick towards, in this case, the Twisted Fate and the Ezreal. Try to stand closer to them so you can W them, get them out of sticky situations if you have to. If that's not the case and you can just use your W on the enemy, that's fine as well. But mainly for Tahm Kench, it's in the early game 3 camp clear, play aggressive, try to get both scuttles. As you can see, you can easily QW a scuttle and take it with you. So you can easily do it in your own jungle. The enemy is not going to be able to do anything about it. So contesting scuttle crabs against the Tahm Kench is literally impossible. Also, you can take buff camps with you as well. So let's say you're doing it or the enemy's doing a buff camp, you have vision, you just QW it, take it with you over the wall and just spit it out, smite it from like 1200 HP and you can get it for free there. So stuff like that, just make sure you play aggressive with it, and then every time your ultimate's up, look for ganks, look for flanks around bot lane. Like if they're pushed up a little bit too far, you can ult behind them. Same thing, goes for top lane. Other plays you can make are obviously mid lane plays, so you can mid lane with like a blue smite, walk in behind them. If your mid laner has any type of CC, mid laner probably dies, the enemy mid laner probably dies, and then the two of you can like backpack together in your ultimate to bot lane as well, to 4-man bot lane. So stuff like that's when something you want to look for on Tahm Kench. You can literally fight any jungler 1v1 in the early game because there's really nobody that out 1v1s you. You are extremely tanky. And even though the Rek'Sai got an extreme flank on me and he has the early game rune, he kind of still lost that situation completely. So, yeah. That's basically it for the Tahm Kench guide. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button, as this does help me out quite a lot. If you guys want to catch me streaming live on Twitch, you can. There's a link in the description. Make sure to follow me there, come and hang out. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!